Welcome in this new video tutorial in which I'm going to show you how to create this drawer box. If you want to follow along, you can download the file with the list of material and the size of the cards. The link is in the description below. But first, hi, I am Artist. Welcome to my little studio in which I create costumes, boxes and embroidery. The first thing that you need to do is to cut the cards. If you are using my kit, you don't need to do that, but if you use your own mount board, don't forget to write the name of the card in the center, so when you look at it, you know which card it is and the name is not covered by the fabric. Once you have all your cards ready and cut, it is time to prepare and cut the fabric. Now this faux leather can be ironed, just make sure that you do it on the wrong side of the fabric. Just try the heat before you do. I use synthetic fabric and it worked fine with my iron, but it's better to test first in one corner. In this fabric you need to cut all the outer box cards. So you will have the base, the top, the sides and the back, and you need to cut as well the drawer from the outer drawer front. For all the cards you need a seam allowance of 1.5 centimeters, but for the outer drawer front you need 2 centimeters because we will use a different covering method for that card. For all the remaining cards, the inner box, inner drawer, outer drawer, except the front, you need to cut from the cotton fabric, and this is the same 1.5 centimeter seam allowance all around. With the fabric cut, it is time to cover our cards. We will set aside the outer drawer front because we will use a different covering method. First, we will work on all the other cards. You can either cover them all right now, or you can work group by group. So if you want to cover some cards now and do the rest later, you need to start with the inner box because it is the first part of our drawer box that we will assemble. The method that we will use to cover this card is the double-sided tape method, so obviously you will need double-sided tape. I have 1.5 centimeter, which I ordered by mistake, so that's what I'm going to use, but the ideal size is 1 centimeter. You can go with 0.8, 1.2, these are fine as well. When we cover cards, we always start with the longer sides. So I will put some tape on both of these sides. And we will cut in a 45 degrees angle to have the longest point near the card. And we don't put the tape right away, right at the edge, but like 1-2 millimeters away from it. We will also trim the corners, leaving 1 centimeter of fabric in the corner. A little bit too short there, but it's cut. There is nothing we can do about it. Now we remove the backing. And we fold our fabric. So with this fabric, it's pretty easy. It's a little bit different with the cotton, so I will show you later. When I fold the second side, I pull as hard as I can to make sure that the fabric is stretched and tight on the other side of the card. What I like to do is to check that we don't have any wrinkles. We do have something here, but as we stretch the sides, it will disappear. So this is fine. So now we will do the same thing for the other side. We will start putting our tape. And this time we will start with the corners. So we will use our nail, and maybe this one is a little bit too short, so I will show you on this side rather. We press the corner of the fabric, and then as we fold, we pull as tight as we can. And we repeat for the second side. Now that's when I won't be able to, because I cut it too short. And here we have our card that is covered. For the cotton, the principle is the same. It's just the fabric behaves differently. So I will first trim my corners. I will apply the tape on the longest sides. Here I will leave one side of the backing just so I can press my fingers on it without them being sticky. When the sides or when the card is not very wide, that's what I like to do. And I will start folding in one corner. Now I won't press too much in that direction, because if I do, then the fabric will move. What I will do though is to try to pull in this direction, in the other corner. And I always press with my fingers here on the card. I try to hold the card as well with my thumb to prevent it from moving too much. Now I will remove the backing and fold the other side. And we finished here. This is the side we started, I mean like this one, when we folded the fabric. So I will start with the same side. And that time I will push in that direction to fold it, and I will pull as well toward the other corner. Always holding it with my thumb here and pressing with my fingers. So with the cotton, you need to pull and stretch the fabric a lot more than you do with the faux leather. And I will check. I have a lot of cat hair on my card, but other than that, it's clean, no wrinkles. Same thing here, first the corners, and then we pull the rest of the fabric. Now I don't like this one, so I will redo it. The good thing with the double-sided tape is that you can do it again if you're not happy with the result. And this is clean, no wrinkles. You need to do the same for all the remaining cards except the outer drawer front. You might notice that sometimes the fabric will just peel off the tape. It is normal. The double-sided tape is not the sturdiest method, but it is the one that we use the most because it is quick and it is easy. We will try later the lacing method and you will see that that one takes a lot more time, so that's why we use double-sided tape. Anyway, if the fabric peels off, just put it back. And something that I like to do as well, and that I recommend if you don't have time to assemble the box right away, is to place all your cards under a book or something that is heavy. Just make sure that it is something that will not damage or stain the cards. For this next step, you need to have all the inner box cards ready. So we have the base, the top, the two sides, and the back. The inner box and outer box will be constructed exactly the same way, but the outer box will be constructed around the inner box. That's why we always start with the inner box. And for this specific box, we will have the sides placed on top of the base. Usually the base is inside all other cards, but this one is a little bit different. So we will place the side on top of it. Then we will have as well our back card. The back will be between both sides, and then we will have on top of it all, we will have the inner top card. The easiest way to start is by one side because they have the same length. So it's easier to start like this. It doesn't matter if you take the right side or the left side, it's the same. You need the curved needle to sew this part, and to thread your needle, you will need as well to make a loop. What I like to do is to take a thread the length of my card, a little bit extra, and then double it and close it with 2 or 3 knots, because the eye of a curved needle is bigger than a standard sewing needle, so it will leave a bigger hole. That's why it's better to have 2 or 3 knots. One will not be enough. When we sew, we need to be careful to sew along the edges. So for these cards here, we will sew on the edge of the base and then on the edge of the side. Avoid putting your needle too much there where we have the tape, because otherwise your needle will get sticky. If it's the case, the best way to remove the glue is with nail varnish remover. Now I will prepare my needle. I will start in one corner. You can either start in the corner there if you manage to go in a fabric fold, but just hold it with your finger to make sure that it doesn't peel off from the tape, or you can do it a little bit further. We will do a couple of tiny stitches to secure the thread anyway, and then we will cut the knot. So it's easier to start your thread when you have just one card in your hand, because then you will need to juggle with 2 cards. It's not always easy. So I make tiny stitches just to secure my thread, so when I pull I don't lose it, and then I will start my needle right at the tip of the base. And now I am ready. I will bring the side. Because we are sewing, because we are building the inner box, it is important that the fabric is facing inward. These cards are quite large, so it's easier. I like to hold them against my chest to prevent them from moving too much. And I will start stitching along the edge. Use a ladder stitch. I exit the fabric here, so I will just enter it next to it at the same level. And we try to keep our stitches regular, but 2-3 millimeters if possible. With a curved needle it's not always easy, but we try to make them as small as possible. It's more like 3-4 millimeters than 2 or 3 actually. One trick as well to work more easily with a curved needle, I like to place 2 fingers in the curve of the needle and then prevent it from rotating with my index finger. Remember to keep your side on top of the base, so you should see the edge of the base. And we will continue our ladder stitch. We need both cards to be really tightly stitched together. So what I like to do is to do a couple of stitches and then I will pull. I want to pull hard, but at the same time I don't want to break my thread, and that's why I pull on the thread and not on the needle. If you pull on the needle, the thread will break. And you also need to check from time to time that the card is not moving, so we want the edges or the corners to be together for this part. Sometimes one side is smaller than the others, but for this one they are the same size, so we need corner against corner. Assembling the first 2 cards is more difficult because you really need to have everything in your hand. They keep moving, but you will see that as you add the 3rd card, you start having a right angle, and then it's better, it's easier, and you can use more the table. So it will get better. And to finish my thread, what I like to do is to go back a couple of stitches, trying to pass in the same stitches, putting my thread and then I will cut my thread. Now we will place the back card that will come touching the side and will come on top of the base. To prepare your thread, you need the length of this side plus that one, again with some extra double it. And we will start stitching at the top with the side. We will go down along the side and then we will sew the rest along the base. I will prepare my thread the same way I did it for the other cards. So I will enter the fabric a couple of centimeters away from the corner. I will do 2 tiny stitches to secure the thread, and then I will exit my needle at the tip, at the corner. So our back card will come against the side and the base. I will come right at the corner. I will pull my thread and I will stitch to one side, either the base or the back. I will do it here at the base. Then the back, I will go in the opposite direction just to secure that corner. Pull, and then continue in the direction that we want. And here just remember that the back doesn't touch the corner. It's normal, it's because we will have our other side. And again, I would go back a couple of stitches to secure my thread. I pull as hard as I can without breaking my thread and I cut it. We just need to add the second side, so we start stitching on the top. We will go down along the side and then sew along the edge. I will let you do it and I will see you when you are done. Now that we have the 3 sides of the box sewn onto the base, we will sew the top. Our inner box is complete, and now we will move on to building the outer box. We will build it exactly the same way, so we have the base and the sides, and the sides come on top of the base. The only difference here is that the fabric needs to be facing outward. Be careful when you pull the thread, because this fabric is more fragile, so if you pull too hard, the thread will tear the fabric. So I will let you stitch the side to the base. When you are done, you can also add the back card, and I will see you when you are done. We have the side and the back. To continue building the box, we need to insert the inner box inside it. So you will see that your inner top side has the same height as the outer sides and back, and you will as well see that the inner box is shorter than the outer box. This is normal, it's because we want to have the front drawer card inside the base, top and the sides. Pull the thread slowly but with steady firmness as you tighten it, while gently squeezing the box. The goal is for the outer box to fit snugly around the inner box without straining or tearing the fabric. Once the side is secured, sew the outer top card in place on the box. I will see you when you are done. Our box is almost done. The last step that we need before we can start building the drawer is to stitch the outer and the inner boxes together. Before you begin sewing, push the inner box as far back into the outer box as possible. Hide the beginning of the thread and your securing stitches between the 2 layers, then start stitching along the edges. This part can be tricky, especially around the corners, but I know you'll manage it. To finish off your thread, sew back into the first couple of stitches, pull the thread tight and then cut it. done with the box. That was the part I hate the most, so I'm glad it's over. I hope you are too. Now that our box is done, we will start working on the drawer. If you haven't covered the card for the inner drawer, it's time to do it now. We will start building the inner drawer. The same way we do it for the box, we always start with the inner part of the box. The assembling works a little bit differently for the drawer. So I have my base, I have the side, and you can see that the sides, let me show you like this, the sides are longer than the base. And that is because this time we want, it's difficult to hold everything and show you at the same time, we want to have the base inside all the other cards. So I have the base inside the side, the back, and then I will do the same with the front and the other side. So here it will be easier if we start with the base and the back or the front. It doesn't matter with which one you start, but we will stitch the front or the back to the base because they have the same length, so it will be a lot easier. I have prepared my thread already with my secure stitches. Now I will take my base and I will place the back or the front on top of the base, and I will just stitch along the edges the same way we did for the box. Here I'm coming at the top, at the tip of the corner, and I will go back a couple of stitches and I will pull. You know the drill, the method is the same. And I will cut my thread here. Now, it is up to you the way you want to build the rest of the box. You can either do the opposite side, so the back or the front, and then work on the sides. So the sides are the length of the base plus the front and the back. Or what you can do is to stitch your side, making sure that the side is going to be longer than the base, so you can later incorporate the back or the front. So it's up to you how you want to build the rest of the inner box. I will let you do it and I will see you when you're done. The inner drawer is done. It is time to build the outer drawer. Something I forgot to mention before you start building the outer drawer, and as you can see I already did it. This time the edge of the side aligns with the edge of the base because we will put our drawer in and then the drawer front, so they need to align because the drawer front comes on both of them, on the edges of the sides of the outer drawer and on the front card of the inner drawer. You already know how to do it. We will take the base and we will take the back and we will sew them together. Then you need to sew one of the sides and I will see you when you are done. I bet you already know what we are going to do now. We are going to put our inner drawer inside what we have of the outer drawer and we will sew the last side on top of it. Just like for the outer box, we need the outer drawer to fit snugly around the inner drawer. There is no risk of tearing the cotton fabric, so don't be afraid to put the thread tight. We will finish off our thread the same way by sewing back into the first couple of stitches. And now that everything has been assembled, we need to sew along the edge. I will let you do it. I will see you when you're done. The drawer is done. The only thing that we need to do now is the outer drawer front. And I'm going to show you how we will make it. The outer drawer front will be covered using the lacing method, beginning by pinning each side of the card to hold the fabric in place. Next, fold the corners neatly and secure them with 1 or 2 pins. Once all the corners are folded, sew them down. Work towards each corner, pulling the thread carefully so as not to tear the fabric, then stitch back up. Finish with 2 tiny securing stitches. For the lacing, use buttonhole thread. Take a generous length, but don't cut it from the spool. To prevent the thread from catching on the pins, either hold it in your hand or place a sheet of paper over the pinned edges. Start lacing the fabric by passing your needle under the fabric at the bottom edge, then over the top edge, alternating as you go. If you run out of thread, simply draw more from the spool and pull it through the lacing until you reach your needle. To finish, make a couple of stitches. Then pull the thread tightly towards the spool. Cut the thread from the spool and secure the end with 2 or 3 small stitches. Remove the pin from the laced side and repeat the same process on the remaining edges. Finally, attach the button. On the reverse side of the card, draw 2 lines to mark the center point and sew the button firmly in place. Now that our drawer front is done with the button, we need to fix it on the drawer. In order to make sure that it is fixed where it's supposed to be, right in the middle, we will take our double-sided tape and we will apply some tape on the inner drawer front here. We will take our box and some ribbon or a piece of cord or something that will be big enough to go all the way back in our box, and we will put it around our drawer like that, so we can pull the drawer out of our box. So we will put the drawer in place and the drawer front in the box, and we will press to try to have it stick on the tape. Then we will take our drawer out. And now that we have the correct placement, we need to sew all around it. Make sure the inner and outer drawer front cards are firmly stitched to the sides. Since these pieces will be pulled on each time you open the drawer, they need to be strong enough to withstand repeated use without coming loose. And now comes the best part. Putting our drawer inside the box. Congratulations on making this box with this fabric. It was very difficult. It was a challenge, so good job. I am looking forward to seeing what you have done. So please share with us in the Facebook group, the Artist Salander Creative Circle, or on social media with the hashtag MyArtistSalanderCreation. As you can see, I also have other boxes. I created some Halloween coffins, but they are not just for Halloween. And then we have this doodle box as well that you can color on with your markers to personalize it. I will have new boxes, patterns really soon with 3D embroidery, dragon scale smoking patterns, bead embroidery, so a lot of cool stuff are coming. If you want to stay tuned, you can subscribe on the channel or sign up to my newsletter at artistsalander.eu, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!